بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. Speaking about while walking towards Almighty Allah, to be aware of the traps of the devil around us. So on the first day we discussed that on this path two things are essential. One is dua for hidayat, that oh Allah, continue taking me along the path. And one is dua for protection. And a summary of dua for protection was put in Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. The second lesson was that three qualities are needed for this Quran then to start showing man the way. One was salah must come in our life, spending in the path of Allah, especially our zakat. There is a big difference between zakat and charity, lillah, extra, optional. Many a person feels I get a lot of reward in optional. And when zakat comes, you find they become very tight. 3 times they'll press on the calculator again to see exactly how much is my zakat. Because they really feel that in zakat it's like an obligation, I must give it. It's like interest. Give it away, dirty wealth. Whereas it's not like that. Zakat wealth is the wealth that Almighty Allah has ordered from us. Like how salah, there are 5 salah which Almighty Allah ordered from us. Over and above that is called optional. Some is mu'akkad. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never leave it. So in love we won't leave it. Sunnate mu'akkada. Some is what is called ghair mu'akkad. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to leave it sometimes. So we also sometimes can leave it, but because he read it, we try to read it. But some is called fard. A fard is that which Almighty Allah has ordered. By it being an obligation, it doesn't become dirty. Rather, it gets a high position which no nafal can ever reach. Ulama have written, a man makes his whole life tahajjud. The reward that will come out of it, however, will never ever equal to the reward he will get for 2 rakats of any fard. Because a fard is a command. Similarly, zakat is a command. It is only 2.5% of one's wealth. It's a very small amount. But when giving that, don't give it with that feeling that it must just go away, dirty. In that one pound that's going in that zakat. That is why when we calculate zakat, we never ever 3 times to see can I get it less. We always try to make it more. Try to make that amount of zakat, you have to give more. So even if a few extra pounds can come under the name of zakat, that reward will go so high. So those that spend, those that perform their salah. Then the third is those that have understood. We believe in the unseen. Because we believe in the unseen, whatever we see around us, we don't jump for it. We don't get taken aback. We don't get duped into the outside scene. In everything we look with another eye. And we look beyond the thing and we see another picture. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, in front of Jahannam, there is a beautiful veil. Hujibatin naru bishahawat. It's the veil of lust and desire. It's the veil of pretty women, dancing girls. It's the veil of lights, bright. It's the veil of my every enjoyment. He said, but as soon as man touches that curtain, he finds himself falling into Jahannam. Iman bil ghaib demanded when we see that veil, we see through it. So when someone says, are you not coming? We can see already behind. He said, وَحُجِبَتِ الْجَنَّةُ بِالْمَكَارِهِ. And in front of paradise there's also a veil. It is the veil of what man doesn't like. It is the veil of having to make wudu with cold water. Having to wake up in the early morning for Fajr. It is the veil of having to look away when she looks so smart, she looks so nice. It is not easy. Allah's Nabi called it makari, something man dislikes. He says, but behind that veil is your paradise waiting for you. Iman bil ghaib makes us see that paradise. That's why we walk towards it. In the next lesson now, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala explains who you will find trying to pull you off this path. Because shaitan directly is not going to come. He will always have to send agents. So Almighty Allah has defined the agents as 2. One will be an open agent. One will be one that acts like your friend. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. There is that group for who kufr has been destined. One is a normal Christian on the road, there's a Jew on the road. We always have a hope that one day through our good character, he will also see the light. And one is a group that kufr has been written for them. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, on them their heart got a seal, their ears got a seal, their eyes are covered. A terrible punishment has been written for them. But they are not going alone to the fire. They have made it their life mission. They have printed books and they spend millions printing books. They are running newspapers and they'll spend all their energy to make sure Islam is the bad person. They will go out to different countries where there are war, where there is earthquakes. They will go in the name of humanitarian effort, but they got nothing to do with humanitarian efforts. As soon as they land there, they want to take young children out so that they can put them in a non-Muslim house, so that boy can grow up as a Christian, can grow out as a Jew. Whenever they go with evil intentions, but they got a nice smile. They said, we have come to help. But they only want, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala speaks of them, وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَن نَصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. They will never be happy with you until and unless you follow in their religion. You leave your path. Until then they'll smile at you. As soon as you turn away, they'll look at you with that anger. They are going into the fire, they want us to go. That enemy makes us understand why the newspaper is always against us. Why countries always get against us. Why when one thing happens so fast they all jump. It is the nature of these think tanks that are behind the scenes, that control the banks of the world. They have made us their target. So when you will see that attack, don't get shocked, it was already mentioned. Then there is the second. The second is the man who will dress or he will talk like a believer. His talks will be the talks of Quran and Akhirat. He will speak of the year after and he will be very eloquent. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ. Then you will find on this path trying to push you off are people who loudly say, we believe in Allah and the last day. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. But they have no faith at all. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. It seems they are trying to deceive Allah. But you can't deceive Allah. Then they are trying to deceive the believers. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ. They will never deceive except themselves. فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٍ. There is a sickness in their hearts. And that sickness Almighty Allah is going to make it more and more. For them also a terrible punishment has been written because they are open liars. But where you will see these people, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. They cause a lot of problems in the world. They are that in between two Muslim parties that make the fight happen. But they are also in the guise of a Muslim. They will run behind this person and that person to say, he said this, he said that. In the ending, two main Muslim parties are going to war. And they are out quietly. Sometimes we wonder, why do Muslim armies fight? Muslim countries. There was a time there was one Khilafat, the entire Muslim world was one. If any country was attacked, another country was going to help. Then the Khilafat fell. When the Khilafat fell, it was the first time the world saw, when one country was being attacked, it was a Muslim country attacking it. Now there was no need for the non-Muslim country. Now the Muslim country itself was attacking. And then a non-Muslim country will come and say, I'm going to help you. And another one will say, I'll help you. And each one will just start funding. And they wouldn't fund for free, they would fund on interest. That I'll give you the weapons now, you pay me back later. Muslim countries up till today are still paying back. They're paying back for old wars, they got involved in new wars already. War upon war, war upon war. In between, who brings them to that war? It's also a Muslim. One Muslim on this side, one Muslim on that side. But that Muslim is no real Muslim. He has just come out to deceive the whole matter. It is so easy for a person to take the name Ahmad, to blow himself up in a place where the public are. 30 people have died, Ahmad died, or Ahmad never died. But suddenly there's war. One Muslim name, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, you'll find these people. And they also invite to their path. They also call youngsters, join us, look at us. They will talk big talks, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, but they have no iman. And when it is said to them, you are causing corruption in the earth, this is not the place to fight, this is not the place to blow someone up. When it is said to them, do not cause corruption in the earth, they say, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. We are trying to put things right. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, Allah, listen well, إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْمُفْسِدُونَ. They are causing a lot of corruption. The only thing is they themselves don't understand. They are so blind in their way. That's one sign of them. The second sign of them is they do not like Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Whenever you will find a group that gets an allergy when Sahaba are mentioned, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala said from the beginning of Quran, watch out from this group. In today's time, it's not very hard to pick up who does not like Sahaba. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسِ. When it is said to them, you must believe like how the main group believes. That main group meant the group of Sahaba. قَالُوا أَنُؤْمِنُ كَمَا آمَنَ السُّفَهَاءِ. They say, why must we believe like those fools? To be able to call Sahaba fools is a game for them. They don't only call Sahaba fools. In some of these circles, you will hear them cursing Sahaba. You will hear him giving them a khutbah, and in the khutbah they will say, this Sahabi was good, that one was bad. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, when you will find that group who are calling the top group fools, أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ السُّفَهَاء. Understand well, they are the fools. وَلَكِنْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. They are also blind in that. On this path you will find two parties. One is an open non-Muslim, but he has made it his mission to make me and you, my child and your child, a non-Muslim. No matter how smart and how wonderful his smile is, no matter how high his education standards are, no matter how clean his school is, you must think well, when I put my child there, is he going only for a worldly education and his deen protected? Or is there a fear he will get the world and he will lose his akhirat? For which reason in our countries make so much of effort that the education system must come also under us. That the principal must also be a pious Muslim. He must be able to see the curriculum. He must be able to see what they're teaching. In this country now, all of you know that in your education system, unique books are being put in. So in one place, someone complained about it. He said, how will my child read that book? So I said to him, in our circles it is said that a book does not create education. It is the teacher that creates. I said, normally people ask us, what book are you teaching? That makes it happen. So we say, if a teacher is a master of that field, he can use any book. The teacher makes the book. The teacher can criticize the book. But what the teacher teaches, that what goes in the mind of the child. If the teacher laughs at one subject in the book, the child won't believe that subject, he'll also laugh. And if the teacher is convinced of that thing, the child will become convinced. I said, whatever they put in the books, they can't control the teachers, but if our teachers are ours, if we can create that environment where the teacher has a mind of a pure Muslim, the child will get a mind of a pure Muslim. Never ever think a Western education will not affect the religious mind of my child. It is mentioned in the circles of knowledge, إِنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمَ دِينٌ إِنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمَ دِينٌ. Ibn Sirin rahimullah, Imam of the Tabi'in, at that time he said, remember, knowledge is your deen. Knowledge is your religion. فَانْظُرُوا عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ. He says, think lot before you take your religion from someone. Meaning before you take your knowledge. When our children today are going out, in the past in the schools, they would hide that hatred. Today they opened it in the education system. They forced the theory of Darwin in schools. They are going further. There's no stop. To fight that, we have to have our own schools. We have to have our own teachers. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala make it happen. When you will have your own, you will see a child goes in that environment, his mind automatically becomes religious. So one is when the non-Muslim has established such a unique system, we can also establish. And the second is, it is not every Muslim that your child must learn from. One was the open enemy. You say, my child is a Christian, he is a Jew. So if he tells you something about Jesus, don't listen. Then there is a second one which is even sometimes more harmful. That a Muslim opens up a center. But he is not someone who we know. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala said, watch out also for the man who says I'm a believer, because it's not everyone who says that he is. He, when he talks, that child will believe everything he says. And we are having that today also. Any Muslim name opens up an organization, a school, immediately the father says, my child is put in. But he knows nothing about that person. Any person wants to learn anything, he presses on Google, 3 sites come on. The one who he finds speaking well, he knows nothing about the man, but knowledge is your deen. Ponder well who you will take your knowledge from. He must have a few qualities. One is he must have intense love for Sahaba and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On his tongue you must never ever hear a word of disrespect for any of the scholars of Islam, any of the scholars. And no disrespect at all for Sahaba radiallahu anhum and for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sunnah of Allah's Nabi. He must not try to show that the Sunnah was for people of the past and today we got a different world. He must be a man who shows us that the world can move with the Sunnah, not that the Sunnah must move with the world. When he talks in that manner, when he talks, he reminds you of Allah in the year after, then this is a man who you must say, I will take my religion from him, I will take my knowledge from him. On this path towards Allah, these two enemies are going to come. An open non-Muslim who will also invite us with a smile, give me yourself, give me your child. He will put up an advert, he will put up a school, he will put up a playground, he is just inviting, spend millions, billions. And the second will be the hidden, that the Muslim will come in the guise of Islam and he will say, give me your child. But he also got another path he wants to take them on. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala protect me, protect you, protect our children. It is not easy to find the truth. But Wallah, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, وَيَهْدِي إِلَيْهِ مَن يُنِيبُ. Whoever looks for the truth, Allah gives him the truth. Whoever looks for it. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala grant it to all of us. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله.